Be right.
Going back to the thing that we started with, how excited are you for Tenet?
Very, very excited. And I'm glad Nolan is sticking to his guns of going, no, if you want to see this, you have to go to the cinema. Because you know what? Anyone else who's like really pissed off, just wait a few months.
Yeah.
Wait 6 months, and then you can watch it on your couch like a slob in your underwear.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Bearded Discussion Podcast, the show that talks about what it means to be a man in the 21st century. I'm your host, Simon Binkowski, a self-proclaimed fitness fanatic, and I'm on a journey to challenge stereotypes about men. Every week, me and my guests will bring you amazing conversations about masculinity, relationships, fitness, sex, and many more. Now, let's jump into the show. Cool, and we're rolling. How you doing, Adam?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're looking fresh. Is that a fresh haircut?
It is. Just came back from the barbers. First time in a couple of months.
Is it? How was it?
Yeah, it felt good. The guy was like, I
haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah. I tipped him extra. I was like, look, man, thanks for the fresh trim. I know I haven't been in fucking since the pandemic, so here's an extra, whatever it was. I just rounded up to the nearest. I think I gave him 20 quid. And the haircut was 10, but I was like, fuck it. You know.
How are you coping without the haircut? Like for this,
very well.
What was it, 5 months?
I definitely lent into being a recluse, a dirty. I definitely lent into being a dirty stay-at-home person. Like,
did you feel like a slob?
Yeah, just didn't shave, didn't cut my hair. I haven't worn jeans. Well, I was out the other night with jeans, but that was the first time since March. I've just been wearing these same pair of shorts. I do wash them. But just really sitting into that quarantine life.
You really got into, what was it? You really got into, like, you had a beef with jeans for a while, right? Like, and it was shown in your latest sketch that's available on YouTube right now.
Yeah. Scared of wearing jeans and not comfortable, and like, did I wear these all the time before? Oh my god, no! Maybe I'm going to become a trouser guy. Maybe get one of those big sort of.
Yeah, especially like after 5 months of quarantine, you like, as soon as you put them on, it's like, fuck, these don't fit anymore.
Yeah, and also just like, I know that they were always like jeans. If you wear well-fitting jeans, they do hug your legs a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was totally fine with that for the past, 28 years. But 3 months of not having to wear them, and then I'm wearing them. I'm like, you're taking the piss, jeans. Taking liberties. This is not optimal comfort. I'm used to wearing like shorts, pajamas, or nothing at all.
Yeah.
I live by myself, wear nothing at all. So it's just like, now it feels like a step down to wear jeans. And I know that's not the right way to be, so I'm changing that. Got a haircut, trim my beard, and I wore a pair of jeans the other night. I'm on the mend.
You're looking good, man. You're looking good. You lost some weight. You got a fresh cut. You're looking good.
I've lost the majority of the weight that I put on during quarantine. So
that's amazing. Well done, man. Congratulations. What did you do?
I just stopped eating.
At all.
Yeah, I was eating a lot. I was just eating.
We do not advise that. No, this is not a way to live.
If you want to have a good time, definitely do that. If you want to be, healthy and have a good body and have, better self-esteem and confidence, then do what Simon wants. But if you just want to just let it all loose and let it go and
just stop eating,
live like there's no tomorrow, just do what I did. But it's just not eating as much crap. Like, I would eat entire tubs of Ben & Jerry's.
That's easy. Come on. How can you buy a tub of Ben & Jerry's and eat only a half of it or whatever? You have to eat the whole tub.
Couples. That's it.
Couples what?
If you're in a relationship, you buy one and you share it begrudgingly.
If I'm in a relationship where I have to share my Ben & Jerry's, I don't want to be in that kind of relationship.
Great.
Get your own.
No, you have to. You have to share it, because if you buy a tub each, it just comes across bad. That's like one of the main, when it comes to food. That's like a main benefit of being in a relationship. The other half, you always split everything with the other half.
Nah. No, it's not. Have your own
As long
food,
as you
man.
agree beforehand, I'm up for that. I don't like it when they say,
Okay.
"Oh, I don't want any chips," and then in a restaurant, and then they start picking. And you're like,
It's a
"No,
little bit.
that's-
It's a little bit like what was it? Was his name Joey in Friends?
Joey doesn't share food.
Yeah, I don't share food.
I don't share food either." Actually, my girlfriend, it was quite funny. I think it was just something stupid. Like, I think I poured myself like some juice or something, or a tea, or maybe it was even milk. I don't know what it was, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, do you want anything?" And she goes, "No, I'll just have a sip of yours." I was like, "Okay." So I came back with my glass of whatever it was. Let's say
she drank it.
No, I brought a separate glass with just a sip's worth in there.
Oh, no, that's that.
And I said, "Here's just a sip." And she
That's a
was
great
like,
move.
like, huh?
That's a great move.
Because she wanted just a sip, and I was able to provide that. So I was like, "Here's just a sip." And you know what? After I had that drink, I said to her, that was the perfect amount of that drink. A sip less would have ruined it.
I would have loved to see her reaction to that.
She was laughing.
That's hilarious.
Because she couldn't get upset with me because, well, I gave her just what she wanted. She wanted just the shit, but I provided it in her own personal clean glass.
Yeah.
Unless she has an affiliation, she wants to put her lips on my glass and she wants to take some away. Unless part of the enjoyment of the sip is removing some of the enjoyment from the other person, then I don't get it. Like if they say, if I'm making, if I don't want to cook and I'm just making a basic bitch meal, like I don't know, chicken nuggets or chicken strips or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Do you want anything to eat?" She's like, "No, I might snack a bit of yours." I'm like, "Right, I'm chucking 2 extra chicken strips in the oven and you can have that." Like, what? I know the amount of food that I want. Why would you choose? Why wouldn't you just say, "Oh yeah, give me a couple of these," rather than, "No, I'm just going to have something of yours"? It doesn't make any sense.
I'm loving it. That's a great approach. Get your own food. I have my own food.
No, just provide it to them. It's not being mean. It's just going, there you go. You wanted a sip? Here is a sip.
I don't say it's
you
mean.
You wanted one of my chicken nuggets or chicken strips? Here's a couple of chicken strips. If you don't want them, I'll have the rest. Whatever.
I love it.
And that's why I'm affectionately known as a prick.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, he's the prime example. If you're looking for a person that personifies prick, Adam Coumas is the guy. And that's why we love him.
Yeah, that's why we get on.
Yeah. Dude, have you heard?
Simon's low key by the scenes the same as me. He's just putting on this persona.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely a prick as well. Yeah, of course I am.
He never has that smile pillow out normally. He normally punches that thing.
Yeah, but you got to make it nice for YouTube. Dude, have you heard of that? The big news this week, Tenet, Christopher Nolan movie coming out 26th of August. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, this movie specifically, because that has been, obviously because of all the pandemic and the virus and everything that's going on in the world, everything shutting down. That movie is seen as this like savior of cinema, because obviously cinemas have been struggling for a while, even before the pandemic, and now is obviously especially now since everything's closed. And they, in a way, got like fucked over as well by that movie called Trolls World Tour, which was released by, it's like an animated movie. It was released by Universal sometime in March or April, I believe, like when the biggest hit of the pandemic started. And normally, obviously, a movie like that would go onto the cinemas. It was even advertised, and you had posters everywhere already advertising that it's going to come out in the cinemas. And then obviously when everything hit, Universal decided to release it on VOD, straight to VOD, and it did tremendous numbers. Like
VOD is just online, right? Video on demand.
Yeah. Essentially, you just pay like an extra rental because I don't know if it's like £15 or something like that. Because it's a new high quality movie, so like a AAA movie or whatever. So
Well, let's not call Trolls Worldwide a high quality movie.
I mean, it's a big budget animated movie, so that's why.
I know you wanted to see it, Simon, but I don't know if it's.
I haven't seen the first one, but I remember the song by Justin Timberlake.
You're missing out. It's great. I love
yeah. Film. No. My jam is Minions and Despicable Me. That's my shit.
So gross.
But yeah, either way, like obviously, like the movie industry was, and everyone in the industry, after like reading all the articles, was surprised by the success of Trolls, that movie, Trolls World Tour. And then Tenet is seen as this savior because obviously right now people are sort of getting used to streaming platforms and watching everything on Netflix and all that. And Tenet surprisingly is going to be released on the 26th of August in the UK and other European countries, but it's not going to be released in North America. In
cinemas, is that what
in cinemas, yeah. It was an interesting case because Christopher Nolan is one of these like 4 directors who are so adamant on the cinema experience.
Of course, yeah.
And he is so against streaming platforms essentially. But so like my question is, do you think that's a good approach, and are cinemas sort of on the way out?
So we briefly touched on this before we started doing the podcast, and what I found out immediately is that we differ greatly on this topic.
Yeah.
So I'll try and remain civil. And anything that I say, if you disagree with it, it is not just a personal attack on cinema, but a personal attack on me as a human being, because I studied film at university. So, and I've come to terms that offered me no real benefit in the outside world.
That's with university in general.
Especially if you're doing film, though. I just want to really leave it out there.
Or philosophy.
No offense to Bath Spa. I enjoy it. It's so just bear that in mind. I'm very techy, but
that's fine.
I think cinema, I mean, obviously it's going through a tough time, just like everything else is going through a tough time. There was a lot of conversations about as well. So cinemas, they're trying to be more, they were trying to be a bit more inventive with their pricing policies as well, and structures. So a lot of cinemas had you pay a monthly subscription, maybe 17 quid a month, and then you get unlimited access to movies. Mm-hmm. And 20 or 30% off all popcorn and stuff. And you kind of think, well, who wants to do that, right? When you think about it, it's no different to paying for a gym membership or watch. If you've got Amazon Prime and you've got Netflix and you've got Hulu and you've got all the other things, you don't really watch all of them, right? It depends. If you are a connoisseur of movies, that might be quite a good deal. And they were thinking, well, now since they shut down, a lot of people were putting their memberships, and there was a lot of questions up in the air. Well, how are they going to? Cinema literally has no way to fund people. So if they're not even charging for
but
movies,
then with the subscription thing that they do, like the release windows in the UK as compared to US are different, because in the US you do pretty much have a new AAA movie every week or every 2 weeks. You don't really have that in the UK. UK has these windows of like just the movie industry in general does have windows. There's like the classic summer blockbusters. Around Halloween, you've got all the horror movies out, and then there's some of the there's also a flock of movies just before Oscar season. And for the most part, not all of the time, but for the most part, most big AAA budget films they'll try and have a worldwide release, or they call it a blanket release, right? Yeah. And that's the reason why Tenet being released in Europe and some other country, rest of the world before the US is such a big deal, because it's normally always a blanket release, and it benefits these studios to do a blanket release across the world because it cuts down on piracy heavily, right? Yeah. So, going back to your question about is cinema on the way out? Don't you think that it's redundant? Don't you think that it's redundant? Because right now...
No.
Okay.
Well, this is where we disagree. Right? I don't think it's redundant, and I don't think it's on the way out. I think cinema is going through an essential restructuring that every industry has had to go through, right? So let's take it, for example. Okay, gyms, right? Mm-hmm. You go to the gym. How much does your gym membership cost?
£19.
Right? How much would that gym membership cost 10 years ago?
I have no idea. Probably 15, maybe. 15.
No,
maybe.
No. I'm talking about like this fleet of like cheap, affordable gyms, like the Gym Group, the Pure Gym, and everything else. They didn't really exist, man. Like I went to a gym when I was 14 or 15, like 16 or something, and they didn't exist. It was all premium. It was all like Virgin Media, Virgin Active.
Virgin Active, yeah.
Whatever fucking part of Virgin it is. It's such a conglomerate, isn't it? Yeah. Virgin Cola, Virgin Aeroplanes, but Virgin Active, right? It's and it was like £60 plus, and it's the same with a lot of these gym memberships. They had to go through a restructuring process. Someone came in and shook up the industry, and then they had to restructure. Same with the comedy club industry, right? There used to be a stream of comedy clubs all over the country, and then as comedy constricted and the industry constricted, they had to deal with that. And cinemas, I'm going to be honest, in the past they have taken the piss. Some cinemas, not all of them, some cinemas. And I'm not talking about the independent ones who normally prioritize the experience. Maybe I'm talking about just wide level cinemas.
Are you taking a piss in terms of the price or what?
No, not necessarily the price. Although, if you buy popcorn there or something, or, a drink, you're like, oh, that is taking the piss. I'm talking about in terms of the experience. Like there was no really priority on the cinematic experience. You go there and people were allowed in late. They were allowed to talk. You were allowed to walk out halfway through. All this sort of stuff, using your phones. None of it was really monitored. The seats were crappy. They didn't do anything to make the cinema experience better. It was grotty. It was quite shit. What I've seen is, in the UK, really, my experience, that a lot of the big chains, Cineworld, Odeon, View, they've all sort of cleaned up their acts. A lot of them they've all pretty much refurbed all their cinema screens, so the seats are better. I think a lot of the seats don't even fall down anymore. They've just removed a bunch of rows, so you have a bit more space. Yeah. They've cleaned it up. They're strict on their rules now about if you're late, you're late. You don't get admission. I think they might refund you or whatever. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are super tight on talking and texting. Mm-hmm. Which is really good. And you are seeing that gradual shift. And that's not because they wanted to. That's because they had to in a bid to remain relevant, right? Yeah. If you're seeing your general viewership decline, you have to increase the quality for people to want to keep going there. What I'm seeing is that, and I don't know, like, I don't want to talk about it too much, but like back in the day, before View Cinemas, it used to be owned by Warner Brothers, right? It was like the antithesis of like vertical integration. Warner Brothers, the studio, would film a movie, they'd pay the actors, and then they'd release it in their own cinemas. Do you remember when Warner Brothers used to own cinemas?
They had a monopoly, essentially, right?
Yeah, and this
idea... Like they owned the whole chain.
Absolutely. And when they owned the whole chain, if they still owned the whole chain, the cinemas wouldn't be in the same issue that they are today. Yeah. Because they'd be like, well, we get the studio and, we're releasing it. That's the problem. And I'm not saying vertical integration is great, having competition is good, but I think it's important to preserve the live aspect of anything. Like we watch MMA, or if you watch a gig or something, or there's something. It's a valuable live experience. Yeah. Depending on who you ask, most people go to the cinema once or twice a year, but people do it for their birthdays. People do it on dates. People do it as a treat. It's a nice cultural thing to partake in, and a lot of countries around the world do it. Not just in the Western world, but in other parts. But you've got a huge Bollywood scene, right? And there's some really great Korean films, like Parasite being an example. Korean cinema is fantastic. So it's South Korean, and it's just. I think it's a phenomena. I don't think it's going to go away, but I do think that. There is now this juggle of why would anyone leave their couch? Which I think, for me personally, who is biased, I think that's a shame. Yeah, because
like when I mentioned in the beginning these group of 4 or 5 directors, which were like George Lucas, I believe, Steven Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino, and Christopher Nolan, and I think J.J. Abrams as well.
Can you blame them? Their movies are spectacles.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was their argument. Like me. Streaming is here and it's not going away probably either ever or for a long time. And so what they are predicting is that cinemas will become these event spaces for movies, essentially. So you'll have movies like new Star Wars, new Star Trek, Fast and Furious, and like these big blockbuster movies.
Cinemas will become cinemas, because that's what you've just described.
No, well, in the past, like it has to do with the whole industry, because the industry is more and more sort of, in a way, it's harder to get a budget or to produce a movie that is like within the range of like 15 million to 35. That mid-budget movies, which are great, which are not produced by Hollywood anymore, and they all seem to now flock to Netflix, Amazon, and all these streaming platforms, because people want to see them. People don't always want to see these event movies. But I'm saying the reason why, like, I love cinema as well. I have great memories with going to a cinema when I was a kid. But the reason why I'm saying I think it's on its way out is because it's just more comfortable, or I think more and more people are willing to even spend a little bit more, even if it's a rental, to watch the new Avengers at home. And I understand that not everyone will have this like 5.1 surround system and big TV and to fully appreciate the work that has gone into that movie. But I think that
I mean, even if you have
absolutely.
a bigger TV,
I'm not disputing that.
Setting on.
I'm not disputing. Yeah, exactly. But I just think that it's more comfortable for people to be able to do that from the comfort of their own couch. And what you touched on briefly before, cinemas, in order to have any sort of a fair fight with the streaming services, they have to go for a restructure and think about their pricing, think about, it costs so much to go to if you're a family of four, if you're parents and you have 2 kids, if you want to go to the cinema, buy the popcorn, buy Coca-Cola, buy the tickets, that's like £100 at least, like over £100 even. Like it's just so expensive to go to it becomes a luxury rather than, because back in the day, cinema used...
How much popcorn are you buying for it to cost £100?
Sorry, maybe not £100, but it just costs a lot. Like it costs a lot as compared to other forms of entertainment, even for a family.
But again, there's no rule saying you have to buy the popcorn there.
But that's the whole experience, right? That's the whole experience.
Yeah, but if you're really that hard done by, bring popcorn from home. They don't police it. In fact, they go, you know what? We prefer if you buy stuff from here, help us keep the lights on. But if you want to bring popcorn home, we're not going to judge you.
That's true, but
I do that.
Yeah, because I do that too, because we're cheapsteaks. But
cheap steaks. Yeah, we're cheap steaks.
Whatever the word is.
Cheapskates.
Yeah, sorry.
Unless I'm on a date, and my girlfriend can contest this, the first few times we went to the cinema, I was flashing that cash. I was like, don't go, we're not bringing it for what, we poor? And then as soon as we were in like a long-term relationship, I was just like, yeah, should we just bring it from home? I
just think it's going to be really hard for movies in general, like to win. I call it a war.
I want to stress that. They're not forcing you to buy the popcorn there.
I know, but it's part of the whole experience, at least stereotypically.
You choose to opt in. You can't go, oh, it's so nasty. It's like,
I know. But
what is a dick move is when you're driving on the motorway and you're running out of petrol and you go to a service station in the middle of nowhere. There's no other humanity around for about 100 miles on the motorway, wherever you are, and then you go to fill up your petrol, and then they've hiked the price of petrol by, I don't know, 35 pence a litre. That's a dick move, and that's really unfair because I can't bring my own petrol from home.
Yeah,
I just have it.
Tell me,
that's an option. Yeah.
But tell me, how can a brick and mortar cinema compete with something like, I don't know if you recently heard, Elon Musk has a company called Neuralink.
Mm-hmm.
There is like a chipset for your brain to help you with just the human body, whether you have a disease or whatever. It's probably a shit explanation for this company, but essentially,
I think I looked on the website and they actually said that it was exact words. Plugs into your brain and it helps you with diseases or whatever.
Yeah.
Neuralink. At that point, I immediately, I can't remember what I was doing, but I saw that exact description and I immediately bought stock.
There you go.
This is the future, bro. And whatever.
But Elon Musk came out recently saying that the Neuralink chipset will essentially let you stream music straight into your brain, which when you think about it is fucking crazy. But now you'll essentially be able to have Spotify rather than on your phone. You'll be able to just get it straight to your brain. You'll just be able to think about it and it will play because the chip is connected to your brain, which is fucking bonkers. It's amazing, but it's bonkers.
It's not amazing. I'll tell you why, man, because I'm not saying this because I'm a Luddite or I don't want any new technology. That is not amazing because with that streaming service, there will inevitably be a free option, which means you will get adverts beamed directly into your fucking brain. So you'll be sitting in bed listening to, like, I don't know, bedtime soundtracks, and you'll be there, and then suddenly it'll just go half price off, mattress. You'll be there going, I can't get out. You'll have like a fucking brain aneurysm. That is not good.
I'm saying the technology is amazing to me. I'm just a fan of technology, and like I'm curious to see where it goes.
I'm not a fan of biomechanics.
Fair enough, but
biometrics, whatever you'd call it.
When I heard that, I was thinking about it. Like, what's to stop from having that, like streaming music into your brain? What's to stop it from streaming music into your movies into your brain? You'll be able to watch the new Avengers straight, like in front of your eyes, essentially, without even looking at a screen. Just amazing. Just think about how amazing that is.
And let's be honest, it's only going to be fucking Avenger fans who are interested in watching the Avengers beamed into their brain. No other normal person. Like, I wouldn't want to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood beamed into my brain. I want to be sitting in a cinema, maybe with a beer, the big screen. I don't want to be lying on the couch. Maybe like I'm drooling a little bit because I haven't really got up. My body's slipping, and I don't want it to be. It's only Avengers fans who are going to want to have the Avengers beamed into their brain. Just
imagine watching a movie like Saw streamed straight into your brain.
People will kill themselves. Do you know how dangerous that is? Like, they'll be sitting there and then they'll be like, how do I turn it off? How do I turn it off? And then their eyes are flickering, and then
yeah. Well, I'm sure there's gonna be some software or something like that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, how can cinemas fight with something like that? They really have to innovate so much. They do. Once products like that become mainstream, it's gonna be so hard for cinemas to fight that war, essentially, to get customers.
No, like,
absolutely, man.
I don't know. Maybe in the far future, if like,
well, I'm not saying but I'm saying like maybe in 15 years.
Have you seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yeah. So
in that dystopian future, everyone's so poor. You don't live in houses, and everyone lives in these shipping crates.
Yeah.
And if the world became like that, then yeah, their priority isn't going to be going to the cinema. And they probably will illegally download a movie and beam it into their brain, however stupid that sounds now. But I think if society stays largely the way it is now, cinemas don't need to compete. It's just a different experience, right?
Okay.
You're not going to be like on a first date, hey, do you want to come back to my place, or we'll sit on a bench together on our first date and we're just going to beam the same movie? And it's like, you've got a bunch of kids.
Imagine how cool that would be if you could Bluetooth connect your Neuralinks and then stream or beam the same movie at the same time into both of your brains
while sitting on a park bench. That's just sad, man. That's sad. Also,
mate,
you could get mugged. They'd be like, oh, these guys stream the movies again. You just look at your face going, oh. They'd mug you. I've never committed a crime like that at all in my life. But if I saw someone, I'd be like, you know what? And then just because I'd be like, why are you sitting? That's like doing a Class A drug like heroin, and then just sitting on the side of a bench and just kind of go, oh, like you don't do that in parks. Come on.
I'm just saying that that's an option, especially especially because Elon Musk.
Option doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah, true, but like, you know, people will obviously try that, especially since Elon Musk came out and said that with the Neuralink chipset, it will be able in not far future to replace language. You won't have to talk. You'll just be able to essentially telepathically communicate because you'll have a chipset. I'll have a chipset, and we'll be able to communicate without moving our mouths. That's amazing.
That's lazy as hell.
Nah, that's crazy.
That is people in your thoughts. Because how would you separate talking from your thoughts? Let's say you're talking with your boss, and then they do something that you don't like, he'll see, and then you're just like, oh, you fucking prick. And he goes, what? And you go, oh, what? I thought I was just thinking that. No, you used the other side of your brain by accident, and then I heard what you said.
Yeah, but somebody has to say it, right?
Depends how much of a dick they are. But it's just like, man, do you not think it's important to have a separation between what's in your head and what comes out your mouth? I
think it's... we won't be able to stop it. I think it's coming sooner or later. I think in our lifetime it's coming.
I'm not saying the technology is not going to come, but you can stop it if you don't agree with it, in the terms of you just go, you know what? Not for me having that chipset put in my brain, unless society really goes to shit and they're like, right, we're tagging everyone, and this staple gun in your head and you've got a chip in your head and then you can't think.
Yeah.
That's like 1984 shit, man. That's like thought police.
That's true. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure in our lifetime there's going to be so many changes.
Imagine if you were born with that and then you never had to speak, and then your chipset breaks, and then you're just like, you try and communicate with someone with your mouth, and you're like, nah! Like you've never talked before, and you don't know how to form sentences, and you're just like, blah! Like,
well, in a way, you could say that...
That's a horror movie right there.
In a way, you could say that a lot of the new generation already is forgetting how to handwrite because you type everything. You don't really have the necessity to handwrite anything.
Oh, thank God.
That's just another step.
Thank God they go to school, man.
Yeah, but even in school...
You do a lot of writing in school. Yeah, I worked in a school a couple of years ago. They're all handwriting. It's a good skill because you know what you can't do?
Course, but...
yeah, but then you said they're forgetting it.
Mate, you can't really talk. Look at Floyd Mayweather. The guy can't write. The guy can't read, and he like earns like 300 million a fight. So kudos to him.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot that he wasn't the exception. I thought he was the rule. Was it?
It only takes an exception.
Not everyone can be Floyd Mayweather, man.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we'll see. It's definitely...
And also, any industry, like, I don't know, let's say you work in construction or an architect and you need to mark something up on something other than an iPad. Yeah. You're like, how do I do this? Come on, man. That's like... People aren't going to forget how to read and write. Like, no kids are forgetting how to read and write. That's
we'll see.
In my head.
But I hope. Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Going back to the thing that we started with, how excited are you for Tenet?
Very, very excited. And I'm glad Nolan is sticking to his guns of going, no, if you want to see this, you have to go to the cinema. Because you know what? Anyone else who's like really pissed off, just wait a few months.
Yeah.
Wait 6 months, and then you can watch it on your couch like a slob in your underwear.
Eating a tub of Ben & Jerry's.
Eating 2 tubs of Ben & Jerry's because you didn't want to share it with your girlfriend. I'm glad he's doing it, man. And the thing is, like, the thing you have to understand is the majority of these directors, right?
Yeah.
They all got into making movies in cinema because they love cinema. They love the idea of it. And like, they want it to be a spectacle, right? I can't remember the name of the guy. It escapes me. But like the guy who did Flight of the Conchords, the main dude, he did a really funny movie called What We Do in the Shadows with the vampire mockumentary. Have you seen it?
I've seen the movie, but I don't know which guy you mean.
Oh, then the guy's one of the vampires, and he's also his name escapes me, but he's also in Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
Anyway, that movie had a limited release down under. I say down under because I didn't know if it was New Zealand or Australia, and I think it's New Zealand. And I know that mixing those two up really pisses them off because they're so different. But they were campaigning to get it as a cinematic release in the States. Like, I think it was up to a year after it had been released. Yeah. And the reason why they wanted that was because people don't respect something unless it's had a cinematic release. There is such a thing as a straight-to-DVD movie. and that's considered shit. And
Absolutely.
in the same vein, I mean, with the exception of maybe The Irishman, people do go, it's a Netflix film. Don't get me wrong, TV on Netflix and TV on a lot of these streaming platforms is brilliant, but no one's going, Bright. What was it, Bright with Will Smith, the alien movie? No one's going, that was great. There is, the majority of movies at the moment are shit on streaming platforms. And I haven't seen The Irishman, and I really want to. But the reason I can't, this is me hypothesizing, the reason why Scorsese did it on Netflix was not to be progressive. It's because any movie studio would not let him make a movie 17 hours long.
It was budgeting issues as well, because he spent like over, I think, 250 million or something like that, and no studio wanted to finance it because they wouldn't be able to recuperate their costs, which is fair, because they probably wouldn't.
It's a business at the end of the day, and you know, it's something to have your work being. And I don't know. I think it's good. Like I think you're right. If given the option, most people wouldn't go to the cinema. They'd be like, I can watch this latest movie at home. I'll pay an extra, whatever it is. Yeah. You know, even if it's a pay-per-view type situation, and I'll sit at home and I won't enjoy this. I'll watch it on my motion blur thing, and I'll do this. What a shame, man. All cinemas do, they just give people the extra push to kind of go, well, you know what? You don't have to go to the cinema. Yeah. You can never go in your life. If you know. You can wait a few months and wait for it to come out on DVD, or watch it on a streaming platform, or buy it. Like that's totally up to you. Yeah. But if you want to see it and be part of the conversation, they just give you that extra push. You have to see it in the cinema. And if you go to the cinema, if it's a good cinema, which now the majority of them are, I can't explain this. You get the bigger screen. You get the full surround sound. You're all put in darkness. You're plunged in darkness, which is something that you don't really do at home. You don't turn off all the lights and draw the curtains. Yeah. You're plunged in darkness, and it's an unreal experience. Yeah. And it's I'm glad that that's the case, and I'm glad that they sort of they're pushing that. And I'm glad people like Nolan are going, you know what? No, I like cinema. I know the experience of it. I can't explain the levels of joy I felt when I watched Inglourious Bastards in the cinema, Django Unchained, and The Hateful Eight. Especially The Hateful Eight. I got so much joy. I went there with my siblings and my dad, and we were there. We were all big fans of cinema, and it was a late night showing, right? And by dumb luck, we were the only ones there. Mm-hmm. And we're watching this amazing movie. We're all big Tarantino fans. We all loved it. And then there's a part of the movie where there's an intermission, a 15-minute intermission. Yeah. And if you know the movie, you know it's an intermission because Samuel Jackson goes 15 minutes have passed. So it literally goes intermission. And I literally looked at each other and said, right, snacks, drinks, what are we doing? And we went down and we just bought all the snacks, all the drinks from the cinema, and we went to the little whatever we needed to do. We just went back up and we sat back down, all restocked for the second half of this film. Yeah. And it was one of the best feelings, because we're just there and that is, I'm never going to get that moment back, but it's such a fond memory. Yeah. And I don't think I could have recreated that on the couch.
That definitely, that does sound great, like a great experience.
Yeah.
All right, man, to round it up, what Nolan movie would you advise or tell the audience to watch before they watch Tenet?
Okay, so my basic bitch answer would be to say, I don't know, Inception, Interstellar, The Dark Knight, just The Dark Knight, not The Dark Knight Rises. That's also a good movie. But my hips answer, if I want to impress people, would be something like The Prestige, or even better, if I really want to show that, I know movies, I'd go Memento.
Well, that was his debut, right?
Memento?
Yeah, that was his debut. Big screen debut.
I think no one really cared who he was up until maybe The Dark Knight, and maybe Inception. But yeah, I'd say Memento. But to be honest, if we're just being real, just watch Interstellar or
Inception, man. Inception, yeah.
And The Dark Knight. And if you don't like those movies, then you're a Philistine. That's it.
Yeah, Inception's great. I recommend it as well.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for this conversation. Guys, watch Inception, catch any Nolan movie, because they're all great, and just watch it and enjoy it.
Or Memento, if you're insecure about your sort of insecure about yourself and you want to impress others.
Catch Tenet 26th of August in the cinemas and watch Memento. Sponsored by the podcast, yes. Cool, man. Thank you for joining the show.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for listening. Tune in next week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Take care. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Bearded Discussion Podcast. If you like the show, subscribe and follow your host Simon Binkowski on YouTube and Instagram. Share it with your friends and tune in next week. See ya.